I think currently the environment is really full of challenge. And first, still comes from the interest rate raise. Since the Fed already made the decision to cope with the inflation rate. So until now, 5-time interest raise for 300 basis points. And it caused the appreciation of all the US dollars compared to any other local currency. And in Taiwan, I think the first point is the Central Bank of Taiwan really raised the interest rate. In the first quarter, I think just as the governor of Central Bank of Taiwan said, he made a, I think, brave decision because in the first quarter, the Fed raised only 1/4 percentage point, and the same, the Central Bank of Taiwan raised 1/4 percentage point. Is the same, and in the second quarter, the Central Bank of Taiwan I think, is quite decisive and hard choice because this time is only half-quarter percentage point, and in September is the same half-quarter percentage point. So I think currently the New Taiwan dollars depreciation for about 15%. So currently we just feel the stress from the world situation, but internal economy circumstances of Taiwan, I think, still fine because the first half year the GDP growth rate is around 3.3%. I think it's still fine, and we can see the loan growth is quite strong. I think it's because several reasons. For example, in the first 9 months, E.Sun, our loan growth year on year is around 12%. And the first, it becomes the policy of our government invested in Taiwan. So a lot of overseas Taiwanese companies just come back to investment in Taiwan, and the government encourage, including the SME or conglomerate, to investment in Taiwan. So from July 2019 until now, it's kind of about 3 years, and the amount is around 1.8 trillion NT dollars prepared to investment in Taiwan. So I think that raise the loan needed. So currently we just think it's quite strong in loan needed. And the second point is something about the exporting. In the first 8 months, actually, the exporting of Taiwan is quite strong. I think it's kind of about the exporting for the first 8 months is around 6.2% plus compared to last year. And last year, the export is really good because in 2021, the total export of Taiwan is kind of about 446 billion US dollars, increased by 29.4%. And the first 8 months actually still keep growing. It increased by 16.2%. So since the export is quite good, yes. So I think the loan growth is really good internally or externally. And the third part is come from our overseas branches and subsidiaries. You can see the loan growth is quite well. So in the first 9 months, I think our overseas branch and subsidiaries, the loan growth is around 30% year on year. And I think because it is denominated by New Taiwan dollars, so part of the reason is because the depreciation of New Taiwan dollars is around 15%. So yes, it goes when it denominated in New Taiwan dollars, even the same amount, you already grows by 15%. But even we say that totally the overseas branch and subsidiary combined together, the loan growth in year on year is around 30%. So I think the loan growth is still quite strong in the first 9 months. But in the wealth management, I think is total different situation because the bond market is falling down and the stock market is falling down. We know that all the investment tool actually related to part of the equity market or capital market or bond market. So on average, the mutual fund and the overseas fund decreased by about 30% to 40%. But we can see insurance, especially protective insurance, actually is growing because the capital of our customer, they still need management. So yes, if they do not investment in mutual fund or foreign bonds or ETF, then they will transfer their capital into insurance. So even there are some decrease in the fee income about the wealth management, but we still see the AUM grows by about 18%. So we think that seems a good news because the customers still put their trust in E.Sun. And from last year, we just set up our private banking division combined with corporate banking division. We think, yes, the effect is quite good because we can combine the relationship manager for the corporate with PBC, the private banking consultant, to serve the owner of the companies. So I think the effect is quite good because we can deal impersonally or we can deal with the companies together. So it seems quite well for the private banking. So we just learned a lesson. Even in the bad time or good time, actually, the high net worth customer, they need some service in wealth management. So yes, we know that we can do a wealth management with rich people, and we can deal with the high net worth customer. So we can get a balance when it is in a bad time. Yeah, so I think the wealth management, yes, even the performance is not so good, but I think the foundation is really good. And I think the third part is something about overseas. And in this year, we still keep broaden our branches. So yes, we set up our bank card rep office in Thailand in July. And at the same time, we set Ho Chi Minh rep office in July. And then we prepare to set up our Fukuoka branch in Japan. I think currently we already get approval from Taiwan regulator. Currently is under process in Japan. So soon we think we will get approved. So currently the overseas branch and subsidiary, we already told that the loan growth is quite strong and the deposit actually is growth very strong. And currently, all the profitability come from overseas represent about 23% compared to 20% last year of our profitability. So we think the overseas business currently is quite good. And maybe later we will discuss something about the ESG because it's still some opportunity and strength of E.Sun. But generally speaking, the first 9 months, it seems the business is good, but the profitability still get impact because we investment a lot of overseas bonds and some stock. So yes, they still realize some mark-to-market loss in with respect to profitability. And the fourth quarter, I think something maybe that will change very quick, especially the export, because currently we already see several industry they will realize their inventory adjustment, including apparel, toys, shoes, or 3C consumer electronics, just like that. So yes, we know that maybe the export were not so good. And since the interest rate is currently raised in almost every country, so including Japan, Europe, or US, maybe the economic growth will slow down. And since Taiwan connect with all the world, so when all the world economy slow down, then that will cause the slowdown growth in Taiwan. So we think maybe the whole year, the economic growth rate, even the first half quarter is 3.3, and traditional, the second half quarter will be better than first half quarter. But currently we think maybe they are only part. So the whole year is kind of about 3 point something, maybe less than 3.5% growth rate in Taiwan. So I think it's the overall situation in economy, development, and the banking industry. I think it's because the COVID-19 they already last for about 3 years. And currently we know that maybe the end of COVID-19 will be soon. So we can see, especially in US or in Europe, actually there is no one wear the mask. I think in Asia, most of the countries, including Taiwan or maybe in Hong Kong, not to mention mainland China, I think everyone is wear a mask. But in US, in Europe, there is no one wear a mask. So they already changed their lifestyle. They already come back to normal. So I think, for example, in the COVID-19, most of the people just stay at home. So they buy a lot of things, for example, computer, mobile, and maybe they will think we should decorate a little bit of our house because we will stay a long time in the house. So I think the demand is totally different. But since currently, I think maybe in US or Europe, this is the end of pandemic. So they were already back to normal. So they changed their behavior. So a lot of customers say that, yes, they still need something, but it seems quite different from in the past 2 years. Yes, and for the 3C electronic tools, it's the same. So I think we will experience maybe 6 months or 1 year inventory adjustment. So in this time period, I think since the inventory will be low down, so the new sale should be decreased, I think. So yes, our customer or some industry just tell us that they prepare to meet a charge for 6 months to 12 months. But they think after this period, then they will back to normal because of the inventory adjustment. But the new challenge actually is the interest rate raise, because it seems they still will change a little bit of the customer behavior. Because since the interest rate is really low, really high, so some of the customer will think maybe they can put their money in deposit, maybe they will lower a little bit about their consumption, especially currently the inflation rate is really high. So I think the environment still will change a little bit about the customer behavior. So we still have to watch and see what will happen, because currently, especially in the first quarter and next year, we will experience the high interest rate. Since we all know that maybe the US will raise the interest rate by another 125 basis points, and then they will keep the high interest rate for maybe 1 year, I think, at least. So I think there will be some impact about the world economy, and then there will be some impact in industries. So we have to wait and see what will happen in the future. Currently, the asset quality is still quite well in Taiwan. On average, the banking industry, the non-performing loan ratio actually is as low as 20 basis points. And for E.Sun, currently is only about 16 basis points. So I think the asset quality is still quite well. And yes, if the situation, especially for the high interest rate situation maintained, someone will get impact. But I think since in Taiwan, the central bank only raised 50 basis points. So for our mortgage, currently it is about 1.9% for our mortgage, compared to US 30 years mortgage is as high as 7%. And currently we are only 1.9%. So we think maybe for individual customer, that still seems good. And for the corporate clients, I think currently the interest rate still not cause question, because still quite low. But I think the question is, how about the supply? If they can sell their goods well, then everything will be fine. And since the company resilient is quite good, I think. So yes, when our point of view, even the small and medium business currently still maintain quite stable, and their profitability seems in the first half year still quite good. So I think currently we still don't think there will be systematic risk in asset quality. I think in next 6 months to 1 year. But if the situation prolong even more than 1 year, then I think maybe there will be different story. Yeah.